Hey, greetings from Toledo. I'm David Perdue, the trademark Wahoo. Today, I want to tell you about snack crackers, specifically rice thins and corn thins. And Real Foods applied to register these two trademarks for snack crackers, and their application was approved by the Patent and Trademark Office. The office required a disclaimer of rice and corn, which is simply an acknowledgement that other people who make products that have rice or corn in them would be allowed to do so. And when the marks rice thins and corn thins were approved, the marks were published for opposition. And you'll find a discussion of opposition proceedings in another video that I've posted. Frito-Lay took the opportunity to object by filing a formal opposition, opposing registration of these two trademarks on the ground that these marks are generic. They are the generic names of a thin rice cracker and a thin corn cracker. The Trademark Trial and Appeal Board considered that claim and decided that these marks were not generic. They were not the name of the product. So the board turned to the question, are these marks merely descriptive? And if they are merely descriptive, they're not going to be registerable immediately. It takes time, and if you use a mark that is merely descriptive long enough, and you may get to the point where the mark is no longer merely descriptive, it has acquired a secondary meaning. And what that means is that the public now recognizes this descriptive term as indicating source, the primary function of a trademark. So the board considered the applicant's arguments that these merely descriptive marks had been used enough that they had acquired a secondary meaning. And it turns out that Real Foods lost that argument, and the board largely dismissed evidence of poultry sales, poultry advertising, and so the Frito-Lay opposition to the registration of these two marks was sustained, and registration was refused to Real Foods for these marks. This is an important lesson for anyone who is in the process of coming up with a trademark. Don't pick a mark that merely describes your product, especially one that is borderline or on the border of the generic name for the product. Now, I say that, but in the back of my mind, I have to consider the fact that I've been eating wheat thin crackers for a long, long time, and so I checked to see, did wheat thins have a similar problem? And I guess the answer is no. Wheat Thins trademark was registered in 1975, and that was to Nabisco. And Nabisco didn't even have to show this secondary meaning. And later in the 90s, registration issued to Nabisco for stoned wheat thins, also without proof of secondary meaning. Nonetheless, the lesson is important. Don't pick a mark that merely describes your product. And please remember, you'll do better in Toledo.